Most people who want to write a thought leadership book that helps to grow their career, business, or creative brand stay stuck in the idea phase because of their perception of how much time they think it will take to write their book. If this is you, you might think that now is not the right time for you to write your book because you can't even imagine when you're going to get it done or how long it's going to take. And let's be honest, the thought of building a new habit is unsexy, especially if you don't think that you're a good writer or if you doubt your ability to write a whole book. So then writing a book becomes this nice idea that you'll do someday. It's never really urgent or important until you realize that you've missed out on an opportunity to a counterpart because they had a published book. Baby, ask me how I know. Now, since I have made that mistake, I'm going to tell you what I told myself. Now is the time to prioritize writing your book because the more you put it off, the more opportunities continue passing you by, especially in 2026 when everything in the job, business, and creative landscapes are changing literally by the day. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 very practical and doable for the hardest part of writing a thought leadership book, actually making time to write that book. Now, huge disclaimer. If you only like the idea of being an author and you're hoping that this video is about to be me giving you tips on how to use AI so that you could write your book in just a few hours, click off now because this video is not for you. But this video is for you if you're ready to roll up your sleeves and do the work of digging deep into your own mind, your own thoughts, and creating your own frameworks, telling your own story, and uncovering a new level of personal discipline and consistency that results in you growing your business, personal brand, your career brand, or creative brand. I'm Denise Renee, your business book bestie. Here is my signature book, and these are some of my clients. I help professionals write books that make their business, career, or thought leadership brand visible. Hey, business book besties. So the 5 practical, doable tips that I'm sharing with you today that's going to help you make the time to actually write your thought leadership book are number 1, shifting your mindset. Number 2, preparing to write with my proprietary 4-step system. Number 3, setting a really tiny goal. Number 4, committing to writing sprints. And number 5, habit stacking. Now, I've placed timestamps down below and in the description box to help you navigate the video. But of course, I think that you should watch the entire video for full context. Now, if you want to see more of my videos about writing and self-publishing thought leadership books show up in your recommendations or easily find them on YouTube, go ahead and like this video, tap on that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so that YouTube can show you more of my future videos. And while you're down there, go ahead and drop any questions that you have about the book writing process because I do respond. And with that, let's get into this first tip that's going to help you make the time to write your thought leadership book. Number 1, we are going to shift your mindset. Well, not we, you are going to shift your mindset. Now, I get it. The thought, the idea of writing a book for most people feels overwhelming. Most people feel like it's going to take a lot of words and a lot of time to complete. Not gonna lie, one of my favorite repeat clients just sent over her latest manuscript for me to edit, and it's over 111,000 words. Now, this is very appropriate for her because she writes fiction, she writes novels. This is the last one that we worked on together. And she thick. All right? This is what we expect from novels. But when you're writing a thought leadership book, it does not have to be this thick. You can write an impactful book in as little as 25 to 50,000 words, like my client Kimberly here. See how small and how thin the book is? But it's jam-packed with her framework for a really fun way for involving kids under 12 in correcting undesirable behavior. Don't worry about the title, The Drinking Nanny. It's all in the subtitle, Codes to live by when the kids drive you to drink. Same thing for this client. See, not that thick, but it shares his proprietary framework as a dating and relationship coach. He shares all of the secrets that he knows of the mind of a man. And if you're a woman looking to date a man, trust me, you want to get this book. I'll drop you links to my clients' books down in the description. But I hope that that encourages you that a thought leadership book, sharing your own stories, sharing your own framework, doesn't have to be long. Our lives are super busy. They're multi-layered and multifaceted. We have so much responsibilities on our plate, and we crave times for entertainment and rest. And writing a book can seem like a huge time suck that requires sacrifice. Primarily, you think it's going to sacrifice your fun and relaxation time, but it doesn't have to. At least it doesn't have to take up as much time as you think it will. One of the biggest lessons that I have learned at my big age, honey, yes, darling, because she just had her 52nd birthday recently. Yes, child. 52, where? Not here. Only on my license, okay? Only on my license. But all jokes aside, one of the biggest life lessons that I've learned is that everything starts with my mindset. And everything starts with your mindset too. So instead of thinking of what you're about to give up in terms of time, you're giving up your Netflix and chill time. I said it. I want you to think about what you're gaining for yourself, for your brand, for your business, for your career, so that you can have more time to Netflix and chill later. hmm You are making an investment in your future. So, here are 5 subtle mindset shifts I'd like for you to consider. Instead of thinking you'll be giving up one huge chunk of time just to write one book, think of becoming a writer who constantly writes on a frequent basis. You're writing books, content such as newsletters, YouTube scripts, podcast scripts, etc. And this content is helping to communicate your ideas and grow your brand. Mindset shift number 2 to consider, instead of thinking that you need to take vacation time off from work or book a weekend getaway so that you could lock yourself away to go and write, think of making time to write daily in small little chunks. Make writing a part of your normal routine. Mindset shift number 3. Instead of thinking of writing as this long, trudging, frustrating, laborious task that you'll be running to AI very quickly to help you with, think instead that the time that you invest in writing is helping you to develop 3 of the most critical human skills that are necessary right now: your critical thinking skills, your meaning making skills, aka storytelling, and your communication skills. Glad back to you. Okay? And if you like that mindset shift, drop a clock emoji in the comments for me so I know you're paying attention. Or you can go with the whoa, mind blown emoji. Mindset shift number 4 to consider. Instead of thinking of your writing time as isolated, alone time, think of how writing books and writing other kinds of content is helping you to expand your network and your net worth. Mindset shift number 5 to consider. Instead of thinking of writing as this grueling uphill battle, tough work that you have to do, think of it as time invested in your professional reputation and in the increased opportunities that you'll get. I mean, if you're watching this video, it's highly likely that you went through at least a 2-year or 4-year degree program, right? Now, I'm not saying that writing your book is going to take you that long, but think about that same longevity mindset that helped you get started and complete your degree program because you knew what that degree would help you do in the future. Okay, so here's my second tip that's going to help you make the time to write your thought leadership book. It's all about preparing to write. It's so important that you prepare yourself before you start writing, especially a book. Successful writers do not just sit down to their devices and wait for inspiration from on high to wash them over with the perfect words that will just flow out of their fingertips and onto the screen. It just doesn't work that way. Sometimes it might, but for the most part, it doesn't work that way. Instead, successful writers start writing with a plan, especially their books, and especially thought leadership books. You don't want it to be all over the place. You're not going to give your reader exceptional quality, and a subpar book is not going to build that all critical, know, like, and trust factor with you. Successful writers start writing with a plan. And that plan doesn't have to be super complicated. In fact, there's a very simple, very doable 4-step system that I teach and share with all of my coaching clients. It's called 4 Steps to Start Writing Your Book. And I have a free walkthrough of the system for you to download right now at 4Steps to Start Writing.com. Now, this is a proprietary system that I've developed from my years of experience as a writer, editor, and helping people with their books. Writing requires preparation, especially so that you can implement the following 3 tips that come after this one. And preparing to write your book is critically important if you're looking to write that type of thought leadership book that's going to give you the visibility and help you grow your personal or business brand. You need to intentionally craft it before you start writing your first word. So get your free copy of me walking you through the 4 steps at 4Steps to Start Writing.com. So before I get into my third tip that's going to help you make the time to write your thought leadership book, I think this is a great time for me to say that you will never magically find the time to write your book. You have to make the time. You have to be intentional. And this tip right here, tip number 3, man, listen. Tip number 3 is to set a really tiny goal. And out of all of the 5 tips, which they all do work together, but this one is like the golden key to making the whole system work. The secret to starting and continuing with a writing routine that actually helps you complete your books is to not bite off more than you can chew, especially if you are at beginning stages of your authorship journey. That's why I always recommend to my clients setting an RTG, a really tiny goal. Ask yourself, what is the smallest amount of time that I can commit to writing every single day? My recommendation, 15 or 20 minutes a day. Yup, that small, that tiny, 15 or 20 minutes a day. Maybe you could push it to 30, but I think at 30 minutes, that's a little bit too much because now that's a chunk of time. 30 minutes is an appointment for anything. And to be honest, I don't really want you to commit to 30 minutes. I really want you to commit to 15 or 20 minutes every single day or most days of the week. Now, you might be wondering and getting a little scared talking about, if I'm only writing 15 minutes a day, how long is it going to take me to write this book? Whoa, Sally. All right. Whoa, Sammy. All right. Hold your horses and just ride with me for a little bit. All right. Just ride with me. We're going to get there. Because here's the thing. There are 3 powerful psychological tricks that are embedded in this tip of setting an RTG, a really tiny goal. And those 3 psychological tricks are what makes this particular tip golden for our doable system. Here's the first powerful psychological trick. When you set an RTG, a really tiny goal of writing 15 or 20 minutes a day, you're probably going to do it. Why? Because it's so small. And that's what we want. When you think about committing 15 or 20 minutes a day, finding or making 20 minutes a day, it feels like, I could do that. But if you think about, I'm going to find or make 2 hours a day to write because I really want to power through and get my book done. Now you kind of take a deep breath and think about, where am I finding these 2 hours at? Okay. Now we're getting into that, we got to cut off and really sacrifice something here. And your schedule may not have that much time in it, but you can always make or find 15 or 20 minutes a day. 15, 20 minutes feels doable. And what feels doable gets done. So if you're still like, okay, Denise Renee, that sounds nice, but you still ain't answer how long it's going to take me to write this book. Okay, let's do some simple math. Let's say you're able to write 100 words within a very focused 15 to 20 minute time frame every single day. Well, let's say you've done this consecutively for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, you've got enough words that you very likely have completed at least one chapter. Now, this is way better than promising yourself, okay, I'm busy during the week, so on the weekend, I'm just going to clear my schedule and I'm going to spend 8 hours a day on Saturday, 8 hours a day on Sunday writing, and I'm going to get all this work done. Now, you and I already know that's not going to happen. Okay. And at the end of that month, after those 4 weekends, you're not going to have very much written. It feels too much. It feels very daunting. And when have you ever been able to clear your weekend? But 15 minutes a day sounds very doable, doesn't it? Yes, it does. The more that you complete your 15 minutes every single day, the more you're going to feel good that you completed a goal. Check. And the more that you feel like, hey, I completed a goal, you're going to be encouraged to do it again the next day. You keep doing this enough days, and you'll begin to notice, hey, I've been consistent all week. I feel really good. I'm going to keep going next week. And most people look for motivation to help carry them through projects. You shouldn't be looking for motivation. You should be looking for ways to build consistency. Consistency triggers motivation to keep going. And without much effort, you will find that you have built a solid daily writing habit for yourself, and you are slowly but surely stacking up the word count. Now, the second psychological trick that is deeply embedded in setting an RTG that's going to help you actually finish writing your book is that once you get started, you'll probably keep on going. This is a great way to trick yourself into writing more. Often, when you get started writing for your 15 or 20 minutes, you may actually have a little bit of extra time to keep going. And likely, if you're in the flow, you're likely going to keep going past your alarm when it goes off. You may find that you've easily written for 20, 30, maybe even 45 minutes. Whatever happens, you win either way. Because on the one hand, if you only have 15 minutes to spend, then you've checked off an important task on your to-do list and you feel accomplished. Hashtag winning. Or if you have the time to keep on going and you look back and say, oh, wow, I went ahead and wrote for 40 minutes. Also, hashtag winning. Now, the more times that you can give more time to your writing, then you're just speeding up the process. You're just stacking up your word count even faster. But you've never broken your promise to yourself. Yeah. And very effortlessly, you've kept on going. You've written more than you thought, and it wasn't such a big mental deal. Now, the third powerful psychological trick that is deeply embedded in setting an RTG that will actually help you finish writing your book is that completing a writing sprint for 15 or 20 minutes helps you to focus in short bursts. Because let's be honest, we live in a society that now glorifies multitasking, which, if you do a simple Google search or ask ChatGPT, is multitasking beneficial? It'll very likely tell you no. Okay. You do better if you focus on one task, complete it, then move on to the next task, complete it, then move on to the next task and complete it. But that's not always possible. We're in work environments and business environments where we're constantly interrupted. The phone is ringing, the emails are pinging, the direct messages are going, someone's popping into your office or stopping by your cubicle, whatever, what have you. And even if you happen to get 15 to 20 minutes back to back where you can actually do some deep work, we might just start distracting ourselves after about 15 or 20 minutes. So that's kind of like a really nice sweet spot for doing focused, deep work. And honestly, you feel more accomplished when you focus on the task and get it done. So it's better to get a little bit done in a short amount of time and keep stacking up those little wins than to try to go for this big block of time that may never magically appear. So tell me, do you think that there's a fourth deep psychological trick that's embedded inside an RTG setting a really tiny goal that I didn't mention? Please tell me your thoughts down in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, tap on that subscribe and notification bell so that you can see more of my future videos about writing and self-publishing thought leadership books. All right. So here is the fourth tip that's going to help you make the time to write your thought leadership book. And that is you're going to commit to writing sprints. Writing a book is a marathon, okay? It's a journey. But there's nothing saying that you can't break the journey up into little sprints, okay? Because as long as we still cross the finish line, it doesn't matter how we get there, at least when it comes to writing. Now, you hardcore runners out there, listen, that's on y'all. I don't love running, so this is as far as my running and marathon metaphor goes. Okay, so don't at me in the comments. But we already talked about the deep psychological tricks about setting really tiny goals for 15 or 20-minute segments, your RTGs. Consider each of your RTGs as a sprint, a writing sprint. We're just getting some words out in a short amount of time, boom, done. Now, as I said earlier, of course, there may be times where you're in this writing sprint and you may be able to write for longer. But other times, maybe you can't. Maybe you truly are constrained by time. There's nothing saying that you can't do multiple writing sprints in a day. My thing is to commit at least to one. But if you begin to stack RTGs throughout your day, 3, maybe even 4 writing sprints, well, 4 writing sprints, that's an hour of writing a day. That hour doesn't have to be consecutive or back to back because, like I said, attention can very often be fragmented. Sometimes you can only focus for those 15 minutes at a time. So now you get to be a little bit more creative and think of, well, what are 2 or 3 other times during my day where I can also make 15 minutes and plug in a little writing? 15 minutes before or after my shower in the morning, 15 minutes during your lunch break, 15 minutes before bedtime. What works best for you? Now, I will say that writing in sprints is going to hinge on having a well thought out outline and writing plan for your book and knowing the overall structure of your book. Having that in place allows you to literally sit down at any point in time and pick out a section of your outline that you want to work on for those 15 or 20 minutes at a time. So if you don't know how to structure your book or how to outline your book, I go over this in my free resource, 4 Steps to Start Writing Your Book. So be sure to download your copy today at 4stepstostartwriting.com. So we've shifted our mindset, we've prepared to write, we've set a really tiny goal, and we've committed to writing sprints. Now, the 5th tip that I have that's going to help you actually make the time to write your thought leadership book is this: habit stack. So, if tip number 3, setting the RTGs, was the golden key, tip number 5 is like the golden lock or the unlock, because we're literally going to plug that key from number 3 into number 5 and unlock the whole system. So, in the previous step, I asked you to think about when are times that might work well for you to get your 15-minute writing sprints in. That was kind of like the broader picture for you to conceptualize. Now we're really going to make it intentional. Like I said earlier, the only way to make time to write your book is to make time to write your book. But making time to establish a new habit is hard. But the easiest way to establish new habits is not to try to come up with this whole brand new schedule. It's really about fitting in the new habit alongside existing habits that you already have. This idea is considered habit stacking. And this is an idea that I got from reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you've never read it, it is definitely a wonderful read. I will tell you this: I can be a little bit of an information junkie. So I've read this book, I think, about twice. And I believe I've picked up like 1 or 2 things that I actually do on a regular basis. But I told myself that this year, I'm going to go through this book again this year and really be intentional about changing my habits in certain areas and really working the principles. It's very easy to read a book like this and feel like, oh, I got the information without actually implementing. All right. I'm guilty. You're guilty. We're all guilty. So no judgment here. But of the most useful things that I learned in this book and that I actually implement when I'm trying to change something about myself, it's this tip. It's habit stacking. Because let's be honest, Telling yourself that you're going to wake up 2 hours early before work and you're going to get all your personal things done when you know you are not a morning person. It's never going to happen. Ask me how I know. My behind knows I am not a morning person. But I have a new schedule on my W-2 job and it's early. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to get up at 6 every morning. No, 5:30 so I can have time to I like to take my time to shower and get ready. Imma get up at 5:30, and then from 6 to 8 is gonna be my time. Then Imma clock in, do what I gotta do. Da, da, da. That ain't never happened, okay? I am naturally a night person. I mean, if you can see this, it is literally 12:01 AM. This is on military time that I'm recording this. I started recording this video maybe about an hour or so ago, and then I realized I was talking and nothing was recording. I was like, okay. But I get these kinds of things done at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock. I could easily be up to 3, 4 in the morning just working and working. My only problem is I then got to turn around and get up at 8 in the morning. But that doesn't work for me. But telling myself I'm going to get up and do all this, it's it it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen for me. And so that's my point. You have to look at your life, your lifestyle, what's natural for you. What do you normally do throughout your day? And when does it make best sense for you to intentionally put 15 minutes around a specific time that you're already doing something else, or right before it, during it, or after it? So, like I started to suggest in the last section, maybe 15 minutes before your shower in the morning or 15 minutes after your shower in the morning. Are you a stickler for having your morning coffee or morning tea at a particular time? Maybe right before or during your coffee break might be an ideal time. Or maybe during doesn't work for you because you like that time to just woosah, right? It's like a little me time throughout the day. All right, so now that you're nice and relaxed because you had your coffee, maybe that's a good time to put your first writing sprint in. Maybe you have an AM workout routine. Does it make sense to put your 15 minutes before you do your workout or after you do your workout? What about lunchtime? What about after work or after the business day is done? What about during your commuting time? Maybe you take public transportation. You carpool with your spouse or friends, and so somebody else is doing the driving, and that's a good 15 minutes, 20 minutes that you could do some jotting down or typing on your phone. Maybe right before dinner, during dinner, if you have solo dinners, or after dinner, during your doom scrolling time. So instead of giving up your entire 3 hours of doom scrolling or Apple TV watching, maybe you just take 15 or 20 minutes out of that before you do it, or maybe afterwards, whichever one makes sense for you. Because if you fall asleep watching TV, doing it afterwards doesn't make sense. But if you put in your 15 minutes beforehand, maybe that works. The whole idea is to make sure you're plugging in your 15 minutes around other activities in your day that you know that you do on a routine basis so that it doesn't feel like this big oh my God, I gotta carve out so much time in order to write my book. The whole goal with these 5 tips is to bring your book from feeling like it's all the way out here, all the way down to here. Decide what time of day or what times of day are best for you to stack on your RTGs. And if you try something and it doesn't work, then try a different time. You want to make sure that it's something that just flows smoothly and effortlessly, and it's something that you're just going to do on a consistent basis. And don't stress yourself out about, oh, I got to do 4 RTGs in a day just so I can, write my book faster. No, your commitment is to 1 RTG a day. That's your commitment. If you can do more, do more. If you can't do more, don't stress yourself out over it. Your book is getting written. You now have a very straightforward, very doable plan for you to get it done. Don't do what's not going to get done. All right. And now I have a bonus tip for it that's really going to turbocharge your efforts. You will get the most out of your writing sprint, out of your RTGs, when you make your environment distraction free. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Close out your email and any other apps on your computer or on your phone that are constantly going to be dinging and pinging and vying for your attention. Close your door if you can. If you're at work or you have a business and you physically go to that location, if you want to do your RTG at lunchtime, you may have to physically remove yourself from the building and go sit in your car just to have privacy if you don't have an office where you can lock the door and make sure that no one's disturbing you, or make sure that the phone isn't ringing and you're not tempted to go ahead and pick it up, especially if people know that you're in there. And if you're not able to separate yourself, then invest in some noise canceling headphones that work for you, especially if you commute on public transportation. Sometimes people like to set the mood by listening to music. I would say listen to music that doesn't make you want to sing along or dance to while you're working. I know for me, there's certain music I cannot listen to and work, but there's other types of music that I can listen to and work no problem. So I truly hope that this video has helped you to visualize when and how you're actually going to make the time to write your book. But I can understand if you're still a little iffy on what exactly you're going to be writing about. Now, I did mention earlier that you want to download my free 4 steps to start writing your book guide. And I still encourage you to do that. But you can also click on this video here to watch me walk you through it. Tap on that video now, and I'll see you on the other side.